In my last video, I was picking up my new wheelchair. So today I thought I would show you some of the comparisons, the differences, pros and cons of both of these chairs. The first difference that I'm going to point out today is going to be the difference between the height of the backrests. The first thing you can probably tell is this older chair here has a higher backrest and it's got push handles. As well as this backrest being taller, it also has a mechanism where it can fold down. Now, this mechanism is really good, but it does add a lot of weight to it. The reason why this backrest can be pretty helpful is because when you're in a car, often the car's boot is too low. So having this being able to bend means you can be able to fit it into a boot a lot easier. The thing that's really good about having a lower backrest is it means that you can have a lot more twisting movement when you're rotating your trunk. So when you're turning about the house or just around the place, the backrest doesn't end up getting in the way. So another one of the differences between both of the wheelchairs is the brakes. So this older chair of mine has the push to lock brakes, and they can be like really good. But one of the problems with them is because you've got the bar that sticks up, it hooks on so many things and it like catches on all your clothes and stuff. But it's like mechanically very good, so you don't have to apply much maintenance to it, and it kind of just like locks when you want it to and whatnot. But the difference with that and these, a new type of scissor lock brake that they've kind of just brought out, it's made of metal, whereas the normal like composite plastic that they use for the older model, it kept breaking, so they kind of decided to do something about it and change it. So these ones are from like the Eagle brand, and they're kind of a new thing, but they seem to be working really well. And I like them. So because it bites into the wheel slightly less, depending on how pumped up the tires are, the brakes like don't bite into it as much. So then you've got to keep adjusting the brakes to how much the tires pumped up. You can see with this new chair, the casters like I picked are a lot smaller, and that like makes actually a massive difference with like turning around, because it means the turning circle is so much smaller in the casters. To show this, I've drawn a couple circles on the ground. The difference of the size of caster when turning. So you can see with the much smaller casters, the turning circle is so much smaller. They're also like a soft roll material, and that means like you can kind of squish your fingernail into them. And that is really important because it gives like a bit of softness when you're like rolling along. It isn't so such of an issue when you're like at home or in a shopping center when it's on a really smooth surface, but when you're like going on anything that's not like perfectly smooth, it can be like really bumpy, and then and that just like softens the ride, and it makes actually a really big difference. A lot of other wheelchair parts come from the US, so everything's like in inches, so I've kind of got to do these conversions in my head, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, so the bigger, the 5-inch casters are really good when you're like on rougher surfaces. So like going over grass and stuff makes a massive difference when you're using the 5-inch versus the 4, because it's practically impossible with the 4-inch because they kind of just dig it into anything that's like soft, where that little bit bigger like helps it go smoothly over things that's like not just perfectly straight. On this one you can see there's like heaps of hair on this like 5-inch casters, and that's just because you need like a lot of grease in the middle of the wheel, and then because it's like low down, all this hair and like gross stuff gets stuck in there, and I actually cleaned this caster and took it apart and cleaned it only like 2 months ago, and it's already filthy. So that's like needing to be redone. So these things which the casters are attached to, they're kind of called frog legs, and I need them a lot because of my clonus, which is like the little spasms that you can get in your feet when your foot is on the ball of its foot. So a lot of people don't have them because they don't have clonus, and they just find the soft roll in the casters enough, and the suspension that comes like just above it. So both of these casters are from a different brand. Because this is a Tilite chair, the frog legs have been made by a Tilite brand, which isn't the standard frog legs you could normally get. Because Tilite is a bigger brand than Melrose, Tilite have actually gone and made their own frog legs. Some people say they're not as good, but I can't really find fault with them. I think they might be slightly heavier, but they're both actually really heavy, which is the one disadvantage of having frog legs on the chair and just using like its own suspension. And then these are the new brand of frog legs which have just come out recently, which are the actual from the frog legs brand, which you can see actually a bit physically smaller too, so that can come in handy. And the Tilite one has like sharp edges, so I keep like scratching things that I go past because of the sharp edges, whereas the Melrose frog legs have been like rounded over, so that's a lot better. So when just wobbling my old chair, you can see it's a lot more stable because of 2 reasons. First off, the actual chair width where I'm sitting is skinnier in this chair because this chair is 12-inch and the other is 13. And then we also have the factor of the camber. So the camber of that chair is 4 degrees, and that means the stability of the wheels is put out very slightly, so it's more stable when pushing along and you're less likely to tip. So these are the removable aluminium side guards. You can't get them in carbon fiber because they are removable, and they're said to put a little bit more strain on them lifting them in and out, so they don't make the carbon fiber versions of these side guards because it just puts the extra strain on the material. But they are quite a bit heavier because of the mechanism to move them in and out. It does like add a lot of weight to it. So that's why I, on my new chair, have got them carbon fiber and fixed, so it's a lot lighter. We originally got them removable because we were afraid that they wouldn't fit in the car, but they actually fit fine, and so we don't actually end up taking them in and out, which hasn't been an issue at all. So that's why, another reason of why we got them fixed on the new chair, and it makes it so much lighter. The carbon fiber means it's a lot lighter because it's only like a small area, being only skirt guards. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but like everything that you can get lighter is better, I guess. I got these skirt guards slightly smaller. A lot of people have them the exact same height as the wheel, so it'll be like up to here, but the problem is with that is when you go to grab the wheel to lift yourself up, you tend to be like holding on to the skirt guard rather than the wheel, and like the top of it's kind of a little bit, it's not sharp as it's got this rubber coating on it, but it's just not very comfortable. So instead you tend to have most of your weight on the wheel and then just a little bit on the skirt guard, so it's like so much more comfortable for your hands. which I think is important. A lot of people don't have skirt guards. Most men often don't, because for a start it doesn't look as good, but often they just wear jeans all the time and they don't mind getting it dirty. The reason why people have it is because while the wheel is like going around all the time, it flicks all this dirt and mud up onto your pants. So having the skirt guards there, like, it prevents your pants just like disintegrating. So that's very important. So most women do have them. The other benefit of them is if you have like jackets or coats for winter, you can kind of tuck them down the sides rather than them just like rubbing on the wheel, and then they're just permanently wrecked, because you also get rubber on them. You get a lot of rubber from the wheels, like all over everything. And one of the things you want to avoid is clothes, because it just gets all into the fibers and it's impossible to take out. So yeah, skirt guards are good. This outro is actually being filmed a whole month later, and so many exciting things have happened between then and now, like, as you probably can notice, me getting my hair cut. But please stay tuned to see some of these things in more videos to come, because it will be exciting.